Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. Let's start it off with a preview of the Arnold Classic South America, which is happening this weekend. And this is really kind of the show that's kicking off the 2023 bodybuilding season after the Arnold Classic Ohio. There's always like a big gap between the Arnold, Ohio and the really beginning of the season, late spring, early summer, where the shows really pick up and people actually start competing to try to qualify for the Olympia that haven't already. So I'm going to show you guys the list one more time in case you forgot. Then we're going to talk about the latest physique updates from three of the top guys that I think are probably going to be in the conversation to win this show. So one more time, you've got Suleiman Alterkite, Wellington Fernando Baptista, Slavoj Bednar, Vitor Hugo Boff, Alan Bonadieman, Kleber Reese da Silva, Joseph Kievetin, Emir Omeragic, Jefferson Romero, and Behrooz Tabani. Now, the three guys that really stick out to me here, Behrooz Tabani, Emir Omeragic, and Vitor Boff. So I want to start out here with Vitor Boff, who made his pro debut at last year's Arnold Classic Brazil. And for a pro debut, he was actually pretty successful. He was runner-up here last year to Rafael Brandao, and he's made some improvements since then. So this update that you're looking at here is courtesy of Milo Sarshev. And honestly, while Behrooz Tabani was a guy that had my attention throughout a couple weeks leading up to the show, I think Vitor looks insanely impressive here. He's got a ton of muscle. And I think really the two main favorites, even though we're going to talk about three, are Behrooz and Vitor, because Vitor and Behrooz are the only two guys in this lineup to win a recent pro show, with Vitor winning the Muscle Contest Brazil 2022, which qualified him for last year's Olympia, and Behrooz Tabani won the Romania Muscle Fest. Now, both of these guys were Olympia qualified, but Behrooz was not able to compete because of visa issues. Vitor Boff actually did compete in the Olympia, where he was 16th, so he tied for last. But based on what we're seeing here, I would say Vitor looks extremely impressive. Now, Behrooz Tabani posted it. We got a couple updates from Behrooz, actually. So the first one being this posing video in his hotel room. Obviously, very pleasing physique to look at. Great structure, small waist, great V-taper. I would say my criticism would be his legs still look a little bit undersized, especially from the front. And I think, you know, for a guy that's known for his conditioning, he doesn't look as hard or as dry as I would like to see him look in this posing video. Now, granted, this was one day out, and he's got some time to tighten up, to deplete, to lose some water, and that could make all the difference. But in this video particularly, I don't think he looks as dry as he usually does. Now, Milo Sarshev also posted a picture of him, and I think in Milos's pictures, whether it's the lighting or he's just actually better, he does look drier. His conditioning looks better. He looks very impressive in the pictures that Milos posted. So I really feel like it's probably going to be between Behrooz and Vitor. Pretty evenly matched guys, like I said. Both with recent professional wins. Vitor, he's kind of got the hometown advantage here. He didn't have to travel very far for the show. Behrooz did. But I think this is going to be a great battle to kick off the season. I think this is kind of an underrated top two. They might not be the biggest names. They might not be the most well-known bodybuilders, but I think both these guys are really prepared to bring it. And the third guy I wanted to talk about here, Emir Omeragic, very, very young bodybuilder. This guy is only 23 years old. He's got a ton of potential. Looking to improve upon that fifth place placing at this show last year. Now, two of the recent updates that I saw of him, a side chest pose, and this variation of a side tricep, his conditioning looks pretty damn good. Now, as far as his upper body goes, it's fantastic, but I think what's really let him down at some of the recent shows that he's done is his legs haven't quite caught up. But like I said, he's only 23 years old, a ton of time to improve, and we're going to see how much improvement he's made to his legs at this show. And maybe he's going to crack the top three. I really think those three guys right there are the three guys to focus on in this lineup: Vitor, Behrooz, and Emir. Looking to see some improvements from Emir, but Behrooz and Vitor, both very accomplished pros. Recently accomplished, recently successful. Vitor, a recent Olympian. Behrooz, Olympia caliber, just wasn't able to compete. I'm kind of surprised this show isn't really getting as much attention as I thought it would. Really, people just don't seem to care. And maybe it's just U.S. fans. I'm sure Brazil fans are pretty stoked on this, but maybe it's because there's not very many big names in the show. But people just don't seem all that interested in Arnold Classic Brazil stories. I, for one, I'm excited to watch this show. I feel like it's been a while. You know, we had the Arnold Classic in March, but it's been a while since we've had these Olympia qualifiers, like these smaller shows where we get to watch maybe these guys that aren't as big of names really battle it out. This is going to be a good show. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be bodybuilding. Now, next up in the news, a pretty concerning story here coming from Brian Shaw, 4-time World's Strongest Man champion, was hospitalized late January as he prepared for this year's World's Strongest Man. Just 12 weeks out as of January, this leg infection that he had him facing a possible amputation. So I'm sure you guys have seen some of the graphic photos of his leg and how bad the infection really was, and Brian said that what he's dealing with was a very bad case of cellulitis. It was extremely aggressive, so once the infection set in, everything just kind of took off like a wildfire. So I don't want to understate the severity of this, and the reason why is because he almost lost his leg, and the reason why they were going to amputate it is because there was a possibility that this infection could spread to his bloodstream. And if that happened, that would be really bad. So the amputation would be a way of trying to avoid that. But apparently he's been discharged from the hospital late January, like I said. He went back to training, and he's still planning on and preparing for the 2023 World's Strongest Man. But what a major setback for a guy that has had a tremendous career in strongman. 4-time World's Strongest Man champion, and this is going to be his last one. This year's World's Strongest Man and the 2023 Shaw Classic are supposed to be his final 2 strongman shows. This will be his last World's Strongest Man competition, and really his last shot at trying to get that 5th title that he wants so badly. I guess we're going to find out soon how severely this impacted his preparations for the World's Strongest Man, but I'm certainly rooting for Brian. I will be watching. And obviously, I think the fairy tale ending would be him winning the World's Strongest Man, but whether that's likely or not at this point, considering what happened, it seems like that might be a stretch. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And also, let me know in the comments down below your predictions for the 2023 Arnold Classic South America. I almost forgot. Now, next up in the news, we're just like 10 days away from finding out the Masters Olympia lineup. It's past the deadline for applications, and there are going to be 2 more names added to that list, the first of which being a bodybuilder that I kind of grew up following, Ronny Rockel. Now, this is a guy that I'm really excited to see because I grew up watching the Arnold Classic, and this was a guy that I feel like was constantly competing at the Arnold Classic in those early 2000s. He competed in 2007, 2008, 2010, 2011, where he was top 6 at the Arnold Classic, by the way. And in 2010, he was top 6 at the Olympia. The last Arnold Classic that he competed in that I would have seen him was the 2013 Arnold Classic, where he was coincidentally 13th. But we have not seen him compete in the IFBB since the 2017 Kuwait Pro, where he was 7th in 212. He's a German bodybuilder. He's 50 years old now. And he posted this on his story today. The translation of this is, I hereby announce that I'm preparing for the Masters Olympia this year. Looking forward to dieting and standing next to the greats like Sean Ray, IFBB Pro. Now, I don't know specifically what that comment means, but Sean Ray is not doing the Masters Olympia. He'll probably be there announcing it. But Ronny Rockel, this is a guy I'm excited to see. Now, another old-school bodybuilder that confirmed they're preparing for the Masters Mr. Olympia is Vinny Galanti. He confirmed on his Instagram that he's preparing for the show. He submitted his application. He says in his most recent physique update, 11 days and counting for the list to come out for the Masters Olympia official. It's kind of bringing me back to trying out for baseball when I was a kid, walking up to the fence to see if he made the cut. Now, I wanted to point this out because I think it's important for us to acknowledge the fact that they are hand-selecting this lineup. Not everybody who applies will be accepted. Which is really what's got my attention because we're seeing these guys that are announcing that they applied or they're interested in doing it. But I'm wondering what if there's some really good guys that aren't talking about it at all when this list comes out and that we get like a crazy list of names. Because no disrespect, but honestly, a lot of the names that we're seeing publicly express interest in the Masters Olympia are a little bit more obscure names. It doesn't seem like it's this star-studded lineup yet. So I'm kind of curious how good or how bad this Masters Olympia lineup could end up being in terms of what we're expecting. Because honestly, my expectations are high. And I think your guys' expectations should be high too. They don't just put the Olympia name on anything. And I don't think they should. So I would imagine, or actually expect, that whoever they select is going to be the best of the best, at least from the applications or whatever. So I'm curious to know what you guys think. Do you think this lineup is going to be good, or do you think it's going to be bad? Do you think they're going to continue to do this show, or do you think it's going to end this year? And I know I tend to rant with these Masters Olympia stories, but the reason is I just feel like there's so much potential with bringing this show back. If they do it right, it could be such an exciting addition to the competitive bodybuilding season. I just want to see them make the most of it. And I think, like we've talked about before, I think exploring ways to try to bring in a Phil Heath or a Jay Cutler, a legendary massive comeback, how to do that financially or how to achieve that. I really think that's a conversation that needs to happen if it's not happening already. I feel like that's what people want to see. They want to see a big name legend that's still kind of in shape, or still really in shape, come back and give it a go one more time for an Olympia title. It's the Masters Olympia. And the final story that I have for you guys today, in the spirit of the Arnold Classic Brazil, I want to talk about one of our favorite Brazilian athletes, Horse MD Marcelo de Angelis, whom we now know is going to be competing in men's open bodybuilding as an IFBB pro instead of classic physique. He's working with Milo Sarshev now. He's good friends with Ramon Dino. He's good friends with Rafael Brandao. And honestly, I think he's looking significantly bigger. He says he's weighing 130 kilos in this update, which is 286.6 pounds. So you can kind of understand why it became imperative for him to switch out of classic physique and move up to open. So that's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Stay tuned for this weekend's coverage of the Arnold Classic South America. Make sure you like and subscribe, all that good stuff if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.